Seeing her apartment ransacked, she says, "You know what this needs? Tora Laura Laura. That's what this needs."
I bet you regret those big pearls, you rich bitch. Now they are the cause of your end.
Murder, Captain!
I was pushed down the stairs. Oh. Is this what credit cards looked like in 1984? That is a legitimate question.
David Tolliver. He could wreck your life.
I bet he has.
You would let him wreck your life, Pedro.
He probably already has, in fact. I blocked it out.
Hi. Hi, how's it going?
Hi,
Hi, I'm Victor Devon.
I'm petrified.
And this is Tonight
Right. On
on Murder She
Murder,
Wrote.
She Wrote. Well done. Well done.
Indeed.
Long time
So
coming.
so some disclosure to our audience. It's been a couple weeks since we've recorded. When we first started recording, we weren't putting them out immediately. So now we're at the point where we're recording after we've started putting them out. So it's been a good 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So far, so good, though, right?
So far, so good. You know, we're gonna keep tweaking the audio and the recording and whatnot so that it's better and better. But I don't know. I've heard some really nice things. People said really nice things about the podcast.
It's very nice.
Uh,
And again, most of this is just for fun anyway. This is all just, a rich tapestry.
it's a discipline. It's a process to commit to. It's like
Indeed.
we're like Julie Powell, and instead of reading Julia Child's book and cooking every recipe from it, we're going through the Murder She Wrote catalog.
Indeed. Do you know a week after or a week before another Murder She Wrote podcast came out before not us?
When I was looking on the Apple Podcast and I just searched Murder She Wrote, I could not believe how many things came up.
Yeah.
Shame on me. I don't think I've listened to a single one of them.
It's a show that resonates. I've listened to I've told you about Pushing Up Roses, which is the YouTube, which I've watched because I would have watched for years actually. But I've avoided listening to any of the additional ones because I don't want to bite anything that they have done. I don't want it to influence anything.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to give this Grand Dam her proper moment, so I'm going to pause it for a second. Because audience, we do play the episode while we talk,
Mhm.
but I find myself, and I've said this I think before, either on this pod or on We Burlesquers, one of the others, that I get really heavy into my claiming of my experience of watching things. So unless the content comes from the creator themselves, I very often don't want to listen to a lot of other people just sort of rattle on about the things that I like because I can't argue with them.
That's fair. That's real.
So, I mean, I'll listen to like Willem and Alaska talk about Drag Race, but I don't want to hear some random person on Twitter. So, people who are listening to this, thank you for listening to some random person, two people go on about this.
Just some
Um,
random hobby experts.
Hopefully, it's at least some vague interest. Um,
And if not, you can laugh at us. We say silly.
exactly.
That's
We're
okay.
hilarious.
The funniest. It's a superfluous, superfluous, super, I can't even speak. The superlative of funny.
Um, and now we've reached our sixth episode officially of our episode, technically the seventh of the series. Um, Lovers and Other Killers, which is a doozy. There's a lot going on in this one.
There is a lot going on.
As
I really enjoyed this one. I'm excited to talk about it.
it is one of the ones that is, I think, the most Columbo adjacent
Definitely.
in its styling.
Yeah.
And I looked it up. Apparently, it was possibly another pilot type possibility. It was the second regular episode filmed.
That makes sense because it kind of has that edge of danger to it.
And it introduces Jessica in a very specific way as
Yeah.
well. But she's already an established writer. She already has a reputation. One of the characters, Gerard, says that she is famous, which she denies, but she's always very level-headed about her fame throughout the series,
Sure.
except when she needs it to, gain access.
Very much. Yeah. Except when she uses it to manipulate others. Go
But
girl.
we enter on this fabulous woman who is drunk out of her mind coming home to presumably either a penthouse or some other fabulous place,
Hmm.
and someone is in her home.
She is stumbling around a bit, isn't she? I love this sort of lavender titanium colored is this a dress or a house robe? She looks
She's
rich.
coming home from a party, so
Yeah.
it kind of has to be a dress, but she like dropped her fur at the door,
This
like
is what we do in the 80s.
Aretha Franklin style, just dropped it as she walked in. I loved it.
Also,
And
that
what
is
does she do? She immediately goes to the music box. Seeing her apartment ransacked, she says, "You know what this needs? Tora Laura Laura. That's what this needs."
Oh my God.
Ah.
I'm wearing the biggest chain of pearls I think I've ever seen in my life, which is significant, in fact. So there is somebody in her house, and he's approaching
Yes.
her from behind because she's crawling around on the floor like a dog.
Now, I'm going to pause this for a quick second. Let's get a good look at this killer right here in the ski mask
Yeah.
because it's just vague enough to maybe not be someone who we see later in the episode.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is the same actor.
Well, so that's something that I wanted to talk about when we talk about this episode is like the significance of this murder and why it was necessary in the first place.
Oh, oh, strangled the quickest strangle with pearls ever.
The biggest
She,
pearls.
she gave no fight whatsoever.
I bet you regret those big pearls, you rich bitch. Now they are the cause of your end. Okay, so that's our little intro scene.
Oh,
We're in Seattle, right? We're in
we're
Seattle.
in Seattle and
And we meet
we
Peter Graves. Peter
we
Graves.
do.
What a treat.
Who I will always think of from Airplane.
Same.
Yeah.
I know he was in Mission Impossible and that was sort of his big deal, but
He's been in a million things.
it's been in a
In a
minute.
million things. And he always plays, well, now, I mean, later in his career, I don't know if he's still with us. Actually, I think
By the
he's
way,
passed.
Jessica just got off the plane here in
With a
Seattle.
baby.
She's holding a Chinese baby. Why?
Big, I
If a
can't even
mom
say
is
it's a
Chinese,
misdirection. Like,
but
and
also
yeah,
she apparently knows Chinese. Just a
just a little
little,
to get
just
by.
enough to get by. Yeah.
Yeah.
She just
I,
makes wherever she goes.
Now, this Seattle airport, I have, as someone who has used the Seattle airport, obviously this is decades ago, but Seattle airport is constantly under construction, a weird and windy road. So I don't know if this is fully quite the experience that I would have had using the Seattle airport. But
Looks like a pretty brief experience in that terminal. Yeah.
so
I'm
he
looking.
mentions he says, "Oh, dear, same old Jessica," and she says, "Watch out for that old business." We get another glimpse of her vanity.
Mhm. She says, I'm a dish. What are you talking about? So they're at she makes this comment. You work at a major university. They never tell us what university. It's the most blasé, generic description of where this gentleman works.
It and they've known each other for years and years. He knew Frank. Apparently, he was also competition for Frank at one point or another. She could have got. He says at one point, "You picked the wrong guy," and she said, "That's what Frank used to say."
Yeah.
So they've known each other quite some time.
Oh, and then we have lovely, lovely what's her name?
Lois
Jane.
Nettleton
That's right.
as Amelia, his secretary. And there's a moment in this sequence which I actually think is a mistake for the episode because Amelia is very clearly in love with Gerard, who is ostensibly her boss.
Mhm.
And she said, and Jessica in this voiceover that does not match their mouths at all as they're walking, she says, "You know she's in love with you, right?" And he says, "What? Who?" And she says, "Amelia, your secretary." He says, "Oh, don't be silly." I don't think she should have told him that
No, I don't
because I
think so
think
either. That she
she
overstepped there. That
it,
was a boundary crossing thing. Girl, you need to mind your own business in
and
this.
he does nothing with the information.
Yeah,
So we as the audience already know that. We don't need him to also know that in front of us
yeah.
because he's not going to do anything with it. And then at the end of the episode, he's going to say, "I never knew."
Lois
Jessica told
Nettleton.
you 2 days ago.
Yes. Lois Nettleton is a good actor. We can see that she loves him. We don't need Jessica to narrate for us.
It's just a little clumsy, I
Yeah.
feel.
So she's in her hotel room and she's in Seattle doing a guest lecture at this university that Peter Graves is like a dean at. And she needs to hire a secretary. And so this guy shows up, this very cute guy, I might add.
There's a bit of danger in there.
Unsettling as fuck, but very cute. And boy, that smile.
David Tolliver, he could wreck your life.
I bet he has.
You would let him wreck your life, Petra.
He probably already has, in fact. I blocked it out.
So yeah, he's a secretary. He's self-taught. He wants to, I guess she needs a note taker for her lectures, or she's writing a
Ever.
book as well.
Yeah.
I don't fully understand. I think she's working on a book while she's doing the lecture because he talks about towards the end how he wants to see how the book turns out. Um, it seems like she's doing too much.
Yeah. A little bit.
But this is also, I mean, her first season, first two seasons, she works a lot to the point where Seth, who we haven't even met yet, calls her out on it. She
Mm.
has to get to the point where she's kind of doing too much already.
Oh my.
Um, yeah.
He, by the way, this guy that plays David Tolliver, I believe he was in a movie from the 70s with Lonnie Anderson where he like was a stalker. And so when I watched this episode, sort of all I see, I'd still
Type
still
typecasting. Yeah.
I'd still invite him inside.
So so to speak. Well, we must also mention that Peter Graves and Lois Nettleton are Golden Girls legends, as
Yeah.
Peter Graves is Jackie Kennedy in the episode where
Jerry Kennedy.
Jerry Kennedy, excuse me,
There.
where Rose is supposed to roast him and Blanche dates him and he has an overbearing mother. Uh, and then of course we have Jean from the Golden Girls episode where Blanche notably says lesbian, lesbian, because she plays Dorothy's friend who turns out to be a lesbian.
Jean has the hots for Rose.
Now, so this can we get? I just want to do a quick little sound drop here. So David Tolliver gets the job. Blah 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 blah. This is Jessica lecturing.
Murder, you say, Mrs. Darling? Murder, Captain, plain and simple. Little Nell, poor thing, knocked off a trolley, derailed by the basest of human emotions. Jealousy. Half mad, half crazed with grief.
Uh-huh. So
Hey.
this is her,
So he slipped into a reprise of Sweeney Todd.
and she has her book, The Corpse Dance at Midnight, written on the back on the blackboard.
Uh-huh.
Is that just to give context to why these students should? Oh yes, it says author of The Corpse
Ah,
Dance at Midnight. But
yeah.
at this point, she's had 6 bestsellers, if we're to believe her niece.
Six, maybe seven or eight at this point.
Maybe
Yeah.
that
She's a
dirge
regular
for
R.L. Stein.
that dirge for a dachshund really made him think. That really.
Wow, that lecture was really laying on thick. Wow, Jessica. She was like, I'm an actress too.
Actress. Well, it shows how she eventually gets that job that she doesn't deserve in the criminology department of all places in New York City,
Come on.
in season what, 6? It's yeah. But this is her history. She's an English teacher, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
she's had a history of instruction. She's teaching. Wait, what was that on the blackboard? Again, two notes total. Her name and Murder for Profit is the name of the seminar.
Oh, we are a capital
A
society.
character, B craft. That's what we're talking about, folks.
And that's all there is to it. You
And
too can
that's
write a great murder mystery.
how you get away with murder. Ah,
So she's talking to the professor now.
this
What
is Schroeder, Jack Schroeder,
Schroeder? Yep.
and she notices that
Oh,
he
that's
has
not
like
Jack
a
Schroeder. That's this is the Professor Todd Lowry.
oh
Professor Lowry.
too many tall four-headed white men.
These two
Excuse me.
men in particular look exactly alike, and I had no idea who they were until maybe the last 5 minutes of this episode. So,
There we go. Okay, so yes, this is right. This is right.
oh, look at the color on that wall. That green, that like 70s olive green. That's not a learning environment.
That is very aggressive. Yeah,
Gross.
you're right.
Looks like a
So,
avocado that's on the verge of rotting.
and now this is filmed in a real college. This was filmed in DC, I think, or
Prestigious
Washington. No,
university,
Washington. It was filmed in Washington.
a very serious university. I just couldn't
Yes,
get over it.
it's just too much. Yeah, not in
Oh,
DC.
very
Sorry,
serious.
Washington State, because they would have stayed on the West Coast. Um,
We don't know. They could be at DeVry.
I also like this guy in the red tank top here, just sort of staring at the conversation happening. Like, you're an extra. You're not supposed to pay attention to the action.
You're literally failing at the job. This is exactly what you're not supposed to do as an
Not
ex.
supposed to do. He really is just staring at them. Oh, because I think he wanted to ask a question, and then they walked
Oh,
right by him. Walked
or
right by
he's
him.
fame struck, starstruck.
Then we get David reading The Corpse Danced at Midnight, Jessica's first effort. It's the first real clear shot we get of that cover.
It's pretty cool.
Although there's that famous back photo.
Hmm. But the front is just like black. I mean, it's probably just really
It's a
dark, but
hang on, let me see. I
can we get a
think
graphic designer here, please?
someone call the art department. There's a dancer. It's a dancer in a spotlight.
Is it the pregnant
Um,
ballerina?
one would hope. I don't think you should reveal the ending. A lot of people haven't finished reading it yet.
I really appreciate the feminine thrust. Oh, feminist thrust.
Welcome to the podcast, Feminist Thrust. See, that would actually also be an interesting slant to actually evaluate Murder, She Wrote episodes from a feminist slant on how it depicts, I
Yeah.
mean, we're sort of giving it like, I guess, a queer of a certain age response, but uh
Oh, so okay. We have to remark about the fact that this new assistant of hers, David Tolliver, just showed up in her apartment. Just let himself in. That would be an immediate dismissal from me. But in fact, he wants to go out to dinner with this bitch.
he likes he likes the older ladies, which might have something to do with that woman with the pearls that we saw earlier, who has 12, 13 minutes into this episode not been connected to the main plot yet. Just saying.
Could be murder.
Murder, most foul. Uh, and this is, I mean, also, we very rarely get a murder that early in an episode. And that murder isn't even the murder of the episode.
Which I
It
love.
isn't, yeah,
Love that. The first
because
murder
that's not the
itself
murder
is
that
a
Jessica
red herring, in
solves.
fact, I think.
Say again?
The first murder itself is kind of like a red herring murder for the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and this guy, the Lieutenant Andrews,
Yes.
also in Mission Impossible with Peter Graves.
Well, there you have it.
A little reunion.
How very nice. Again, there were only like 50 actors in the 80s, and they just did the same jobs over and over again. So,
Um, truly. So he just showed up to meet Jessica and David because David is now suspected of murder.
Murder, Captain! Yes, the murder that we saw earlier was Alison Brevard, and evidently David Tolliver. These names, I tell you, someone worked really hard on these names. He knew Alison Brevard and may have been involved with Alison Brevard. We did see his picture in a frame in that penthouse apartment, so they must have been close.
But how
And she's
close?
dead now. Not very close now. I will say, even if he's not denying that they were involved, but he's not saying that he was. He's sort of indicating that they were just friends,
Yeah, chums, buds.
chums, but not
Pal.
even in a professional sense. Like his job with Jessica, he at least can explain away how he flirts with his superior because he's writing for her. He's doing dictation, but
I gotta say, I have no idea when he's lying and when he's telling the truth.
this is kind of the point.
Yeah. Even after watching the episode and like taking notes and reading synopsises and nope.
Now, why would there be, what is this? It's the Vancouver Folk Music Festival poster just hanging out here with a bunch of ducks. So
Okay. All right. We like ducks.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, Vancouver's not far from Seattle, but interesting.
That's their little set dressing. Look, we're close. This is where we are in the world.
He calls her Mrs. Felser. What person do you know by the name Felser?
It's actually hard to say.
Yes.
Belser. It also sounds almost gross.
Yeah. But this is also a trend in the series where nobody remembers this woman's name.
Yeah. World
None
famous.
of she gets Fleischman, she gets Jennifer. I remember
Oh, I love those sunglasses.
these are styling.
These aviator sunglasses.
And again,
They never go out
the
of.
the extras keep staring at them. There was this guy just like, uh-huh, let me look to stare at you two talking. And there's a mime.
What,
There's a
why,
mime street performer
why is there a mime? It's
because they're
literally
on the
centered right
streets.
behind them.
You have to have a street performer, otherwise, how will people know you're outside?
Does Seattle have like a huge mime scene or something that I'm not aware of? What's
I
going
visit every now and then, so kind of. They've always been very nice to me.
So if that mime starts stripping, we'll know that he's in the right setting.
Also, he's just sort of talking to the crowd, which is not, frankly, an activity that mimes do a whole lot.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think
sort of not.
are we at the school still? I think we're still at the school. I don't think this is a very serious school after all. I think it's full of nitwits. Um, talking mimes? I don't think so.
No, no, canceled. Uh, but invariably, so we're casting doubt, and Jessica goes back and forth. She goes from 0 to 60 a lot with David because there are times she's like, I
Yeah.
don't think he did it. And she says, what are you talking about? You shouldn't be in here. Like, she's just does not know how he flummoxes her.
I
And
think
she's not been flummoxed quite in this fashion in a while.
I don't think she thinks he's a murderer, but I think she doesn't trust him, right? And she doesn't know how far she can trust him. But I think her instincts are you're not a killer.
Just sort of to give a shout out to the height of these pants. The waist of those pants are up.
It's
That is
very
Fred
Fred
Mertz.
Mertz.
Just looks so painful.
It's
Uh, you noted also David has
oh,
those lashes, those
those cow
long,
lashes, yeah,
luxurious lashes.
floppy lashes, yeah. He's kind of twinky, isn't he?
With some, I imagine we'd see some pecs underneath. I have
I'm
a feeling
sure
he's got a tight little swimmer's body. I have
that's
a
a
feeling.
tone.
Yeah.
And that jawline, wow.
He could bust up some rocks with that jaw. And clear blue window cleaner washer white blue eyes. I'm losing track of my metaphors.
You know, I had my dentist tell me, I don't know I'm seeing his strong jaw and thinking, oh wow. My dentist told me once that the roots of my teeth are like twice as long as other people's roots. So I could like pull trucks with my teeth if I wanted to.
You beast.
Yeah. And I think David Tolliver could too. Look at that jaw.
He
Nuclear.
is a pretty, and he is called Pretty Boy by one of the other characters. Come to think of it, he is mentioned as being a pretty boy. He looks like he has eyeshadow on. Like his eyelids kind of have glitter.
Pretty.
They're the same color as Jessica's. I'm just saying, he's using her eyeshadow.
That's what you broke in early. You need to get to the makeup bag
Yeah,
before you
just
got home.
putting in my contacts, Jessica.
Is this my
Maybe it's
color?
Maybelline.
So
Well,
he's
so
basically
she's
telling
finally
her,
mad. She's
yeah.
finally mad that he went into her apartment by himself.
Well, he's admitting that he knows the dead woman too now. One of many small admissions that generally creep him closer to guilt over the episode. I gotta say, I think he's the star of the episode, right? Like he is the dynamic presence that we're supposed to be interested in, and he really showed up to work, I think.
Yeah. You know, he reminds me of Christopher Reeve in Death Trap. I don't know if you've ever seen
Oh,
it.
he does have that kind of look to him, right? Strong
It's
jawed, steely. Yeah.
yeah, could very easily be bisexual. Sure, why not?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that pink and blue sweater, please?
I did. It was quite fetching actually.
Yeah, it was pretty, pretty. Okay. David is now at the university. He's everywhere. He's like a spy.
He's That's the thing also. Seattle is depicted as like everything is in walking distance, like, real quick. And it's like, okay, that's
All of
not
these
quite
sites, everywhere Jessica Fletcher goes, it's like, I'm just gonna. She goes to like five different places in a day in New York City. I'm like, girl, the cab fare alone.
alone.
Yeah.
And now she's after dismiss as kind of dismissing him and being like, I don't know if I can trust you, David. She's like, well, I have a lot of work for you to do, so I'll see you tomorrow.
It's
Basically, she can be suspicious, but nobody else is allowed to be suspicious.
it's up and down. It's up and down. She cannot decide if she wants him around or not. And we get oh, what's the secretary's name? Those
Amelia.
Amelia. She doesn't even get a last name. Poor Amelia.
Poor Amelia. And she's important.
She is important. She's sitting there pining. Okay, we didn't mention this girl before. This is something Lila Schroeder, and we saw her leaving with the professor earlier.
Right. Because Schroeder, who I mentioned earlier and got him confused for, is actually her soon-to-be ex-husband. I should have used it as a context clue.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
She's a beautiful girl. A lot of the beautiful young ladies on this show, they don't really, doesn't
Listen to
really,
me. Look at that. You can see her nipples.
but she is she's all there.
It's very Charlie's Angels.
Oh yeah. She's got a Farrah Fawcett vibe to her.
Hmm.
That sort of salmon colored top is very pretty. I hate to see her in this situation with this identically all these fucking white men in this
These
this
white guys look very much
they
alike.
look all the same.
He's also got a very strong jaw.
You
His
can tell
eyes
me
kind of look like he has makeup on.
Mhm.
I also love that he accuses her of being on the phone, not with Jessica, because he doesn't know who Jessica is, but with a man. And she's like, it's not him. And then she goes and sits with another man. So who did he think she was with? But this is yet again a second misdirection. So
Yeah.
because she invited Jessica to the docks or the warehouse or what have you, for a clandestine meeting to give her information to prove, evidently, that Tolliver could not have killed Alison Brevard.
Mhm. We're getting the alibi for David here. Um,
But
oh,
that's all she's there for. That's all she's there for.
Jessica is nuts showing up to like this seedy place at night. Um, this was one of those episodes where she really put herself in danger a lot.
Oh, multiple times.
Yeah,
It's all her fault.
yeah,
Yeah.
she better.
She is very bold and she makes a lot of bad choices. And we see a dark blue sedan drive by.
Also, this is one of those, we talked about this. This is one of those episodes where her interference probably gets somebody else killed. If
Yeah,
if Lila wasn't going to show up to this whatever, we knowing what we know about later in the episode, I don't think I don't think she'd end up dead.
yeah. Because Lila's convinced by another character based on Jessica's. I mean, just not fully her fault.
Yeah.
Going to the, I mean, there's a lot of choices that she makes here. I don't know. I
I do
I
love
have to
that.
admit, I would be very tempted to also go.
Just find out. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I just like that the set for this warehouse is just hallways like a maze of boxes. There's nothing else
boxes.
inside. It's just very clean, unlabeled,
Oh, and evidently very light because
very
she's just
light,
walk
empty boxes.
because Lila just stumbled through them, knocking a
There you
bunch
go.
of them over.
And she's a slight woman. I don't think she has
She's
enough weight to put against those heavy boxes.
and she has a substantial back wound that indicate. Oh, yep, she's dead.
Lila, who was
So,
showing her nipples, is dead.
uh, we've all been there. She is the murder of the episode. So we are
Go murder.
24-ish minutes in,
Yeah,
and she is the official
halfway.
murder of the episode. That first one was just an amuse-bouche. It was just to get us going.
Yeah, we just wanted to see somebody rich get it.
Yeah, real quick with a quick twist of pearls.
Because almost always somebody rich dies in these.
Very often, I mean, very rarely is it someone who is, I mean, she's kind of aggressive to her ex-husband, but Lila is not in the wrong in the previous episode. Sometimes the people who die are awful and it's like, well, who wouldn't kill them?
Yeah,
In this case, it's kind of like, well, shit, she was just trying to help.
I
She
know.
clearly was going through it. She was going to restart her life. She had so much ahead of her.
She was young, had all the potential in the world. She looked like Christy Swanson, just lovely.
Just lovely. Well, we don't know how that turned out.
This is maybe a better fate for Lila.
David is still in that fantastic sweater.
It's working.
It's so good.
It's good on his skin. He doesn't have much of a set of lips, does he?
No, he has. I mean, he has like that little, yeah, his lower lip. Are you kidding? Look at that. He could
Okay.
gnaw off a.
Oh my gosh, you know who he kind of looks like? Are you watching Drag Race right now?
I'm not. I'm behind. I think part of the issue is that it's not on regular. It's on regular TV, and I just don't have the time to make up a fake email address and log in every week.
Totally. So much work.
Uh,
Got a marathon that shit.
so who? Wait, did you mean that the lieutenant doesn't have a lot of lips, or did you mean that David doesn't have a lot of lips?
David Tolliver.
David? I think he has. I think he has.
I think maybe it's the makeup on him because he has that sort of tan colored makeup all over.
Oh, Jessica stopped by the office and Amelia's being a real bitch to her
Oh, right.
because
She thinks she's
she's
trying to get in on a
jealous of, yeah.
good old Peter Graves.
There she goes, acting like a wife again. Oh, we missed that line earlier. Peter Graves has that great line. It's such a shitty thing to say. It's
What a
such a
terrible thing to say.
shitty thing to say.
Gross, man.
When all she is basically saying is, as his secretary, his expense account is bullshit. There she goes, acting like a wife again. First of all, sir,
Oh, sorry, she's doing her job. Um, you gotta put
oh,
her down.
okay. So tell me she doesn't sound exactly as she did in Golden Girls when she was talking about Pat, her dead wife.
Bring it on.
Who it seems is in desperate need of a very good optometrist. That's better. Now, do let me be an ally, because I'm certainly not an enemy.
I loved Gwen. I really did. And she was good for him. And then when she died,
She says the exact same line.
You know, all he
When
needs
she
is a
died.
little nudge.
When she died, I thought I would never love again. Like
I'm
it's
So
so like
this was her audition for Jean the Lesbian? Is that what you're saying?
David
I'm just saying that I think Lois Nettleton has a way.
She sure does. And her last scene in this episode is so good.
It is. It
So
is.
good. I
She's
like
awfully
the
unkempt. She looks a mess though. She's not been getting sleep. Her hair is a
she's wet. Oh, okay. Now we're this is the Schroeder guy, right? The whose wife
Yes, this
Lila
is
has just been killed, and he
Lila's just been
cares
killed.
less.
We see a bunch of old men using exercise equipment by a pool.
Yeah,
Why would you have weights by a pool?
someone's gonna die here today.
Oh, excuse me, thighs. Hi. And we get a little crotch. We get a little crotch moment before in front of the towel. Yep.
It's a black brief cut swimsuit, very modest. It's
Look at that butt.
I know he's looking great. It's really a shame he's such a dick.
Yeah. We
But
could
he's
change
kind of a
him.
throwaway character, isn't he?
He is. And also he has very substantial tan lines. Just saying.
Getting out of the pool while dripping wet, stepping onto an electric
Tread
treadmill.
or steps thing.
Someone is gonna die here today. I'm telling you.
Again.
Again.
So somehow he's not connected to Alison Brevard. He's connected to Lila, who the professor is also seeing. And
Uh-huh.
Lila, knew David Tolliver. So
Yeah.
we're combining.
Well,
We're
they're weaving. Yeah.
So is I guess the question is now we're adding the professor to the long list of suspects of who killed Lila. Because it could have been David, it could have been the ex-husband,
Uh,
it could have been the professor, it could have been Gerard, and it could have been who it ends up being.
We'll find out. Oh, and this okay, Jessica is I've said it before, she's a troll. She's giving a lecture now because she got to get to work. By the way, in the last scene, the ex-husband, Jack Schroeder, is like, "Aren't you late for class?" And she is. How would he know that she's even taking a class and that she's late for it?
I think he was just trying to get rid of her, and he just happened to be right.
Uh,
Meanwhile, she is late for class, and everyone is sitting there waiting to go.
they're like
Standing room only.
silent, yeah. And she digs right in too.
Oh shit! Sorry, I meant to mute that before I sneezed. Excuse me.
It's okay. I think it
We'll
was
cut
so
that in
loud
post.
that it didn't even read.
So basically, she is improvising her lecture today. What a professional. Also, the professor is in the second row, extremely tall and very prominent, and the only person that she's really talking to right now.
It's like he's right where the camera wants to see him or something.
Mhm. Why is he auditing the class?
It's his class, right? I think it's his class and she's guest lecturing. Is that right?
For like the week, I guess.
I think that's what I gathered.
Okay.
This
And
is
he
a
didn't give up his seat to another person?
no. We know he's a little selfish.
Yeah.
Um, this is such a flex move on her part. She's going to, in front of this entire class, basically try to call out this professor and kind of accuse him of the murder in front of everyone.
Do we take notes? Like, what is the like as a student? What are we learning from this? Like, is this a play? Like, what is happening?
She has abandoned she she's abandoned her mission statement as a teacher to these pupils in order to humiliate a potentially innocent man in front of a group of people.
The syllabus is out the window. It's just this is not how you run a class.
Would she lie for him? I said, would she lie for him?
I don't know. She might.
She might.
So I didn't actually know where this was going. I was like, is he the killer or is he not the killer? It felt too easy for him to be the killer.
Well, especially at 30 minutes in. We still have a while to go. This is one of the longer episodes. This is a 48-minute. It's so she gets back to the apartment, immediately goes to the fridge.
Yeah. I
where there's like a rotting potato, mango,
That
something.
looks like a rotting mango.
Look at that. Those are not the color they should be.
Either it's bruised or it's bad.
It's actually very expensive cheese.
That's probably what it
So she gets a message from David that the professor, who she just dressed down, basically, in front of everyone, wants to meet her back at the place where she just was,
Yeah.
which is a little sketchy.
Here's the thing. If you just like called out someone for potentially murdering in front of a room full of people and that person were like, "Hey, why don't you come over in the dark and let's talk about this?" Would you go? No. But here she is,
I want to say no.
dark ass stairs.
I want to think that I would make better choices. I have to believe.
I mean, we got
Now,
to get to her for being
oh,
curious.
I love she's got the mace brand mace in her hand, ready to go. Interesting note, Angela Lansbury did her own stunts in this. One of
Really?
the very few times, because it's actually her face, you can see her when she falls. Um, and she never did it again, evidently, according to IMDb, which, as we know, is only occasionally reliable. Oh wait, maybe that's not her. That might be her.
That's definitely her.
I don't know
She's
if she fell down the
part of
stairs. I don't know if the stair part was her. Hang on. I can't imagine Angela Lansbury saying yes to
dangerous.
that.
She could have died. Pushing someone down a long staircase like that,
I
that's like
think just that was
her
her.
instant death.
That right there is her.
Her the groaning.
Yes.
Oh, I was pushed down the stairs. Oh. And then
David? Huh? She's winded.
like she just got off a roller coaster.
Oh,
She doesn't
terrible.
hurt very often in these episodes. She generally just misses any kind of physical danger, but not this time.
Yeah, there's a moments where she's like wrapped in a blanket after a situation, but she's fine.
Usually she's like something will come crashing from the ceiling right next to her. She's like, I'm okay. I'm
All
okay.
good.
Keep it going. This time she's rumbling in an ambulance. Oh, oh, oh.
Does she have concussion?
Really
I
good.
don't know.
Like Peter Graves, what a handsome guy.
He's very charismatic.
Very
Very
charismatic.
charismatic.
Wherever there's news, I'll be
I'll
here.
be there. Wherever there's murder, I'll be here.
They
To be
wrote
fair,
both those
my husband said that first, just so you know. He said at one point or another that when we watch Murder She Wrote and I say something clever, he's like, "Are you just pitching? Am I just a rehearsal to see if it works?"
Devon, you're not a writer in the writer's room.
Yeah, according to IMDb,
Oh,
it says Angela Lansbury performed her own stunts in this episode for the first and only time without a stunt double. When the killer pushed her down the steps, she went down backwards and hurt her back. Maybe because she doesn't fall back that way, maybe another take was actually her and
maybe.
it fucked up, and then they had somebody else do it because that's not her going down the stairs.
By the way, she's now at breakfast or lunch with Peter Graves, and the Space Needle's in
At
the
the Space
background
Needle!
because you got to know where we are.
Where is Seattle? Yeah.
Hollywood.
You have to know. You have to know. If you're not in front of the Chicago Fountain, you're not in Chicago. If it's not Mardi Gras, you're not in New Orleans. If you're not in front of that Space Needle, you could be anywhere. And again, seconds away from downtown, clearly.
Yeah, that's what every big city is. You are right next to the major iconic landmark wherever you are. Um, Peter Graves is just revealing that everybody sort of knew Lila, including the professor, including him.
Everyone knew Lila. Again, there's this very close up on the prop, and I love when they do that because the detail. So it's a National Bank Bank Master credit card with his name on it. We can see the full number,
Yep, and it's short a few digits.
and there's no valid time. There's no expiration date. It says valid, but there's no number.
Is this what credit cards looked like in 1984? That is a legitimate question.
I think, yeah, probably.
Looks like
Yeah.
I could print that off in clip art.
See, we have a Chaperone medium, 22.95. Hearts of Palm salad for 7.50. This is what you came for, audience. Asparagus Bernaise, 5.95. CPAB stuffed mushroom caps. CPAB crab stuff. That's what CRAB. 6.50. That's very affordable for mushroom caps.
There
And
is.
cherries flambe. They had cherries flambe for lunch?
For 16.95 they did.
At lunch?
I
What
guess.
kind of lunch is this?
This is
All
rich.
right. This is rich people lunch in Seattle.
This is the decadent 80s, my friend.
All for under $60.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Which, of
Look,
course, for inflation is like 110.
at least.
Well, yes, that's also undercutting. It should have been way more to begin with. But he got that professor discount.
Oh,
That Dr. Gerard discount.
there's a little clue here. It's a little clue here, where he was with Lila at one point and they were nearly run off the road by a dark blue car.
Right. Because Dr. Gerard also knew Lila, and which has to tie it together.
Everybody. Lila got around. I respect her so much for it.
It's so he knows Tolliver, and he says he's basically a bit of a con man. Great.
Why does Tolliver stick around here if everybody thinks he's a crook?
He's a student. He's right, isn't he? He's going for something. It's also that 80s 20-something-year-old where he could be 34 or 16, depending on what episode it is.
Really. What's casting going to do this week?
We're back in the very green lecture room. Jessica's off today.
Wow.
Professor says he had nothing to do with it. He did not send her that message. He did not call.
But he's gonna make amends with his wife now that he's sort of been called out for, well, now that his mistress is dead.
Right.
So
And from that last conversation, we know that Gerard and Lila were nearly ran off the road by a dark blue car.
yes,
And so she's asking this guy, in her way, if he drives a dark blue car. No,
I love she's so sneaky.
so sneaky.
But
He's such
he knows she's fishing.
He's also a little slimy.
A little bit.
There's something about him that's just a little oily as well.
These three kings, man,
All these guys are awful.
they are greasy.
They're just bad people who do bad things. But he and his wife have reconciled. So Lila's death wasn't in vain. He doesn't even shed a tear for his former mistress, killed at the warehouse. He's like, no, me and my wife talked. We're good now.
We're
Great.
good.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm so glad.
Goodness, this young woman is dead because I don't think I would have reconciled with my wife otherwise.
Meanwhile, her ex-husband was swimming and like, yeah, she's dead. I didn't do it.
Poor girl. Did anybody care about her?
20 minutes ago, he was willing to beat up the guy she was dating. And now,
Honestly.
well, who cares now?
Oh God, David again.
David back in the apartment without permission. In this
Looking
pink little
cute
polo.
as
Look
ever.
at this
Hey.
perky little chest.
His little itty bitty pecs. But they are good.
I forgot that you didn't want me to bring. How do you forget? You have to turn a key to get into someone's apartment. How do you forget that you're not allowed to do that?
So, do we know like what his relationship was with all these people actually? Like, He was friends with the old woman who got.
He was fucking the old woman.
He was definitely fun. I'm trying to be gentle here. No.
No, no, no. He wasn't. We don't know if he's the one who killed her, but he is the suspect for killing her because he was with her
Let's just say they both
romantically. And his alibi for not killing Alison Brevard was that he was sleeping with Lila. But he was never sleeping with Lila. Lila was sleeping with Dr. Gerard.
So I wonder what the alliance between David and Lila was. Like why do they
Just
have each other's
friends?
back? That's never really explained, is it?
No.
Not that it needs to be, but it is sort of the piece of this puzzle that I still cannot figure out.
Now, this is also very important. Conservatives at home, I know you're listening. Let's have a conversation about singular they pronouns.
Asked me to take a message, said it was urgent.
Wait a minute. Say that again.
He asked me to take a message.
No. You said a person said it was Lowry.
I wouldn't know his voice. I don't know him.
You said a person, David.
He's so excited.
No, not he. But a person. Why?
I don't know. Because,
Because?
well, I'm not exactly sure. I keep thinking back about the voice. It was muffled, a whisper.
You get a muffled, whispery call, and your first thought is, let me take down this message to send my boss to this shadowy meetup.
This boss who I have some strong feelings for.
Exactly.
Let's
You
put her
playing
in
fast and
danger right
loose.
Okay, we're back at the is this back at the office?
This
Ooh,
back at the office where we have this fabulous blouse. Look,
Amelia is
take it
looking
in.
this. My God. What is this? Must be silk.
It is, and she better take it in because she's moving to Prison Orange any second now.
Enjoy the silk girl. I think we need to hear it when we get to her little
Her little monologue.
yeah,
Indubitably.
it's outstanding. Um oh, so Jessica is sort of saying that oh she's pretending that Peter Graves is actually going to be arrested for Lila's murder. And
Classic Jessica.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. And Amelia,
Fucking with the suspect.
what's the thing that's going to make them crack the most? And she's going to
Appealing
pretend.
to their virtue. Ah, it's so good. So basically, she's saying all of the evidence that points to Amelia.
Yeah.
She's just putting Dr. Gerard's name in.
Uh,
And Amelia does the opposite of what most of the killers do, which is talk too much and give too much. And she says she denies. And it's that denial that makes her suspicious, which says, I don't know that place where that Gerard and Lila were meeting up. Well, why wouldn't you know? We saw that you take care of his credit card bills. You would know that place.
right.
When the answer could really be,
Oh,
Jessica, you're not a cop, and I don't remember. So how about you walk out?
the answer could be I look at 100 receipts every month. Get the hell out of here. I don't care. Um, but poor Amelia, she cracks pretty quick.
She's so fragile.
She's so fragile. Poor thing.
She's been hanging on to the love of this. There she goes, acting like a wife again. Just not able to leave this horrible man who doesn't deserve her. And when Gwen died,
What?
she thought she never thought she'd love again.
And then I met Rose.
Exactly. Maybe there was just transference. Maybe she was really into Gwen. Gwen died, and she's like, well, it's the closest thing to Gwen. Let's just go with Dr. Gerard.
Thinking that myself.
Oh, here we go. There we got our Amelia monologue, shall we?
Fashion, yeah.
I wanted to frighten you, that's all.
She admits that she's the one who pushed her down the stairs, which is fucked up.
It is really fucked up.
Police were satisfied that David was guilty, and you just wouldn't let it alone. I went to see Lila Tuesday evening. To confront her.
Norma Desmond, right here.
Very.
As I pulled up, she was just leaving. Her actions seemed strange, so I followed her. I wanted to see what she was up to. I was afraid she might have been meeting Edmund. followed her into the warehouse.
Boring.
She saw me.
On.
She knew why I was there. She laughed.
She laughed.
She threatened to tell Edmund. I did. Lost my temper. I reached for the longshoreman's hook and I just lashed at her. I ran.
Oh, give her the fucking Emmy.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
it's so great, and I love you. I ran.
And this
Ah,
motherfucker has the nerve to say, I never knew you loved me. You blind as a bat bastard.
After all these years,
and Jessica told you, and you denied it. Ah, you deserve everything, Gerard. You deserve everything you get.
You hadn't been so dense, sir.
That was a passing thing I could have handled.
Oh my God.
Are you sure?
Well, there we go.
Oh, look, a Seattle sign, just to tell us again that we're in
Because
Seattle.
we're at the airport. And Jessica's like, let me buy some postcards to remember my trip.
Oh, geez, David is there.
Yeah, this is pre 9/11, so he's able to be like at the gate.
Right there.
Right there.
You could probably get on the plane and give her a hug goodbye. Get off again.
Just
Without you, I might have been convicted of murder.
I doubt that.
so he's been cleared
Jessica, can we stop
of the murder of Lila.
with each other?
The question is still, did he kill Allison? Because that murder has actually not been solved. And this is a rare occasion on Murder, She Wrote where one of the murders that we witness is not actually solved.
And has nothing to do, for the most part, with the characters we meet and the plots we're following.
It's just to give him
A device to-
mystery.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
the MacGuffin. It's the MacGuffin. It's just the device to get us here.
You know, the only thing I'm guilty of is caring.
Ah,
He cares.
Very much.
he likes older women. He's been very upfront about that.
Even casual acquaintances find a way to say goodbye.
Oh, this is so good. And Jessica's not having a second. She's like,
By you.
goodbye, David.
I was enjoying the writing.
How about that?
You send me a copy of the book when it's finished?
I may do better.
Well,
You may end up being a character.
And what would I be? A victim? A suspect? Killer?
I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet.
So good. And evil face, evil
Oh.
face. Ah,
he is
Here we
so
go.
creepy.
and one of the few times where the executive producer credit is on someone, not Jessica.
I'm telling you, he is the star of that episode.
Ah,
He wins it for me. So magnetic. Andrew
I mean-
Stevens, actor's name.
and this is also the episode we didn't mention it at the time, but that gun bang moment from the credits
Yes.
comes from this episode. It's a good episode. It's a really, really solid, strong episode. Which is funny considering how vaguely unsatisfying it is in some regards.
In a lot of ways.
It's not neatly tied together.
Right.
And most of the people end kind of miserable.
Well, and I think some of the clues are a little loose in this one too. I kind of forgive it myself because I think the characters are really interesting in this one.
Mhm.
I remember them all, with the exception of those two men that look exactly the same.
You remember them, you just don't remember which one is which. But
Well, and the ex-husband or the soon-to-be ex-husband, he's really in there for like about 2 seconds.
yeah, he's there basically to give another person who may have killed Lila,
the-
unrelated to the Alison Brevard thing.
The clues are certainly Amelia would know where this place that Lila and Edmund went because she does receipts. That feels like a little bit of a stretch. I mean, I get it, but
It's another classic Jessica. It's just enough to give them to hang them because then they immediately confess.
well, it's
She
just
gives
yeah,
them, yeah.
if she went to the cops with that evidence, it's not really evidence, right? But
Mm.
she knows how to draw it out of those poor, sniveling, pathetic suspects, doesn't she?
She gets circumstantial evidence to really to
Yeah.
really stick.
Yeah.
Uh, and with a few occasions where they don't. One of my very favorite episodes with Betsy Palmer, she does not confess. She refuses to confess. Um, there's a few times where it also ends just with the um, proof, and it's sort of unnecessary for the person to confess because we know that they did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Although
So
every
do
time
you
I watch
think
episodes, every time I watch, I think, y'all shut your mouth. You do not have to say
you don't
anything.
have to say a fucking thing? You do not know your rights, people. People do not use this like ask for a lawyer. Ask for a fucking
Ask for a
lawyer
lawyer.
every time.
This is an old woman from Maine. There's nothing here to hold you in a court of
Well,
law.
even with it to the cops, ask for a fucking lawyer.
Give it a try. Um, although I suppose that would starve us, the audience, of the catharsis of a
Of
confession.
course.
But
Of course. Well,
what?
this the other thing, and I'll mention this again when we get to an episode that really underlines, highlights, and circles it. But Jessica is very for justice by the book.
Very
However, she also thinks that all police officers are fucking useless.
well, they kind of
She's
are.
very much a why didn't you call the police? But then also, I need to circumvent this because you're useless.
Yeah.
You're actually really bad at this.
Well, the
So
lieutenant in this episode is pretty has so little to do. It's really just moving plot. We don't even get a real character out of him, right?
no, he's really just there to arrest and cast out. I think he has two scenes, two maybe three.
Yeah.
Um,
He doesn't get any
he doesn't even have really real
any
banter
yeah,
with Jessica.
too
No,
bad.
they don't. Well, because again, she's very often the one who helps solve with them. Not here. Not
Yeah.
here. So, do you think David did it? Do you think David killed Our Lady in Pearls?
I actually would love it if he did. I think it would I think maybe that's what the end of the episode was trying to sort of tell us, right? That maybe David in fact got away with murder. I think
So the question.
that's what I'm telling myself happened.
So as a psycho with a granny complex,
Sex crazy.
uh, a sex crazed psycho with a granny complex. I mean, it sort of has to be our title, doesn't it? Uh, do you think Jessica was at risk? Is it in David's nature, armchair psychology style, where yes, he's attracted to, he wants the ripe flesh, but invariably he also has to kill it? Because I don't know if they really indicate why he killed Allison. He's going through her stuff, if that's David,
Right.
but we don't know what the motivation for killing Allison
Yeah, I don't know
Brevard
if
is.
he's actually has sort of a Harold and Maude complex going on, or if he is in it for the money. And what, because why else would the two women that he is attracted to, both affluent and successful, and I don't know, I'm curious. Maybe something happened between him and Allison, and he had to end it with her.
Right. That's the thing about because begins she's sort of a side, she's the MacGuffin. So by virtue of a MacGuffin, we don't actually get to know a whole lot about it. It's really just the device. Um,
Give me a whole season about him. He's interesting.
yeah, and that actor comes back again in a completely different type of role. He's still a dick, but he's and he's also a son of an actress who's in a later episode as well, who we'll get to.
Oh, I know
Yeah,
exactly what you're talking
yeah. Um, but for the audience at home who don't know what a MacGuffin is, because I've used that term several times, we actually do talk about it in the series a couple of times because Jessica, as a mystery writer, it's a device. It's an object or device or an event that is necessary to the plot and the motivation of the characters, but really insignificant to by itself.
about.
It's really just there to move the plot along. So when I say that the murder of Alison Brevard is a MacGuffin, it doesn't largely affect anything else. It's just there to get things going, and to give Lila a reason to meet up with Jessica, who then becomes the murder. And
Poor
she's
Lila.
just there to bail David out. And David really let her out to hang to dry too.
Truly.
Uh, Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I really like this episode. I like the sense of danger in it. I like I think
Stakes are high.
stakes are high. The cast is superb. I mean, Peter Graves doesn't actually have that much to do, but he's still really charming in it. Um, Lois Nettleton, that that monologue at the end, please.
So
That's why
good.
we watch the show, right? For
Yeah.
that heat at the end of the episode. And then the actor, and was it Andrew Stevens who played David Tolliver? Like I said, just cannot get that character out of my mind. So cool, so interesting, creepy as fuck. And Jessica's never really like unsettled by other characters. Like she can kind of figure folks out, but like you said, she can't pin him down. And I think
No,
she's happy
he's
to get away.
slippery.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I loved it. One of my favorite watches so far.
Yeah. I like this one a lot. It's a very strong early episode. Again, doesn't take place in Cabot Cove, so it's out of our wheelhouse of what we imagine the homespun mystery solver Miss Marple storyline very frequently is. But it also really lays the groundwork for the way that Jessica responds to things in the future. It's I know all of these teleplays were written by different people, but this really you can tell was in the show Bible
Definitely.
as why she's a little bit hard to trust me. This is one of the ones I think it hurts her she takes no pleasure in saying you're the one who did it. This is actually someone who uh it that's what makes this so difficult. It's like that classic like this I you think I'm happy about it.
Oh no, she
Yeah.
was kind of digging into Amelia at the end there.
She's not happy that Amelia did it. She just
But you
wishes
would
Amelia had
know.
made
You
better
would know.
choices.
You look at all his receipts all the time. You would know. You're lying. You're lying right now. That's her.
She
She's
digs
the
into that
interrogator.
Manchurian
Like,
candidate character, and I love it. Ugh,
I think if
so
I were sitting
good.
in a room with her and she told me I killed somebody, I might start to believe it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, fabulous. Well, that was Lovers and Other Killers. Fantastic. Well
Fantastic.
done, Jessica.
Fab.
I think the moral is don't trust young people.
Don't trust young people.
And you
Just
know, I knew that as a young person. So,
there.
well, fabulous. Well, that was Tonight I Murdered She everyone. I'm Victor Devon.
I'm petrified.
And
It's
keep
been
sleuthing. Keep
tonight
sleuthing,
on
folks.
Murder, She Wrote.
Tonight. Murder. Murder, Captain!
Re. That's it.
That's it. All right.